Hi, I'm Andrew Berry and welcome to At the Benches YouTube channel. This film is now a sort of a continuation from the last film where we showed you how to successfully solder a piece of silver onto another piece of silver where there is no excess solder on the surface. That gives you the most minimal amount of cleaning up to do. Now there are a couple of comments left on that film asking me to show you how we would clean that piece up. So these are the couple of little pieces here that we had. One piece has some solder, a little solder shadow on the bottom of the silver. The other piece now doesn't, because if you'd followed the film, you'd understand what we did. And I'll link the film up above here, above my head. Now, the best way of cleaning up this piece of silver, and I realized that I did the same sort of technique back 4 or 5 months ago, using basically the same sort of technique. Now, the best way I find to clean up this type of surface is to use a bristle brush. Normally a bristle brush, you've got one here. This is a brand new bristle brush. This is a white nylon brush. It's on a standard 2.35 millimeter shank. You can get these in the UK, you can get them all around the world. This is a white nylon one. I know there's lots of people having problems getting these in America, so forth, but there is a supplier in this country that I'll link down below in the description where you can buy them from. Alternatively, you can also get these natural bristle brushes. This is a cup one, but these are white bristle brushes. These are good. The flat ones, similar to this, are very good, but not as good as these white nylon ones. Now, as soon as you use these white nylon ones, it takes on the color of the polish that you're using. And in this case, I would always use a triple E or a pre-polish. I've got one in my flex shaft already, quite a worn one, this one. So we have to see how what this is going to go. You can see how black that is. You can use this in a Dremel, you can use this in a flex shaft, it really doesn't matter. This type of brush is ideal because it's going to get in the little areas between the raised surface and the plate. Try and use a hard mop, and I'm frantically looking for a hard mop here, there we go. A hard felt mop. It's a hard one and doesn't conform to the surface. You may be able to try and get in this little area, but because there's a bit of a radius on this particular type of mop, it's going to be very hard to get in there. You can get some knife edge mops, brilliant, they're absolutely fantastic, but I find that you sometimes will wear away a groove if you try and polish too aggressively. Now this is where these bristle brushes really do work, because they will conform to that little crevice, that little area where the solder is, and also the bristles will then spread out onto the surface, so you won't necessarily get a concentration of a polishing effect right in that edge where a groove would happen. Eye protection always important. Run it onto your pendant motor and this will be able to get into this area no problem at all. Now if I was stuck on a desert island and I had very limited amount of tools to take, I would always take a supply of these bristle brushes, white nylon brushes. As you can see, it really gets in those areas really, really nicely, really, really easily to polish up. If you've got a bit of solder that's happened to have strayed onto the face, or you've actually done it the other way that I was telling you not to do, again, the bristle brush is absolutely ideal for cleaning up the surface around these raised sections, nice and easily. You come in at an angle this way, it partly polishes this area, partly polishes the top, and you're going to get the most beautiful type of polished area between your applied design and the base. And that will apply to all these little pieces that I've actually put together. Always at an angle this way, come down vertically, and this metal ferrule here may interfere with your piece of silver. So I would always come in at an angle like this, just to get into that area. Recharging your mop quite regularly. I'm not spinning this pendant motor very, very fast, ridiculously fast. Always do it sort of halfway, this sort of speed. Do it too fast and you're going to find you're going to lose the bristles coming off the brush. Go over it. I should really put this into the ultrasonic, but I'm not. I'm just going to wipe this over very quickly with my cloth just to remove some of the excess polish. And let's just get a nice bit of a rouge mop. And let's just go over this now. So I should have swapped over to the rouge mop after this has gone through the ultrasonic, but let me just show you now what I mean about those little areas of those bits of solder. And really, no matter how much polish you do, you will always see those little areas of where that solder has been. If you look really, really closely, you can still see these areas. Now, this was the first type of soldering operation we did in the last film, where the solder was melted onto the flat area, then it was taken underneath. So I've polished, and you can still see these areas by here, completely unsightly. You're going to have a hard job trying to remove these completely, and why bother making hard work for yourself? Quickly just run through this one. Let me just pop the bristle brush on this one to show you then how quickly we can get this one done. And to show you there's no excess solder showing. Really, really quick. These long edges. Again, I should put this through the ultrasonic to clean, but for the speed of this film, I'm just quickly going to do this. Then I'm going to swap over to that rouge mop. Give this a clean, and I'll show you that there is no solder that you need to clean up. Completely unnecessary technique. Do it the way that I showed you. There is no areas of solder at all. Whereas in this one here, you can see the areas here. And I'm sure you'll agree that the second technique that I showed you, the way where we sweat solder the solder onto the main central bar here and sweat solder it onto the base, you get a far better finish than what you do if you actually put the solder onto the flat surface, expecting the solder to go underneath this applied design and stay away from here. But as you can see, unsightly, a lot more work to get this looking good. But this one, absolutely perfect. No cleaning up of that solder at all. So as you can see, you get a much better professional finish by following the second technique, where we sweat solder the applied design and then put that onto the base piece of metal, as opposed to putting the solder next to our design, hoping that solder will move underneath. You're going to get a far quicker and easier cleanup that will save you both time and money at the end of the day, and you'll get a far better professional finish. So please, if you haven't subscribed already, I'd love you to click the subscribe button down below, or wait to the end of the film, click on my ugly mug, and don't forget, click the bell icon as well if you want to be notified when films go live on our At The Benches YouTube channel. And if you haven't done so already, please check out our online jewellery training website at thebench.com, where we have over 1,500 films and films going live every single week. Please share this film with your friends. And also, I'd love you to give me a thumbs up, leave a comment down below. I love to read what you have to say. But in the meantime, my name's Andrew Berry for At The Benches YouTube channel. I'll see you on the next film. Take care. Bye-bye.